Eagle has landed.
You're listening to American Slacker Podcast with Matthew Gertz and Jesse Landers.
Welcome to American Slacker Podcast. As always, I'm Matt.
And I am Jesse, and today we are joined by Jim Tozzi, artist, director, producer. Thank you for coming on the show, man.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you, man.
My fellow slackers.
We're happy to consider you part of the Slacker crew. Absolutely.
Honored.
Yeah, man. We've been fans of yours for over a decade now, I want to say. I can't even remember. Wonder Shows it was like the first piece we saw on you, and your work we saw rather, and that was right before our senior year. I think that debuted.
Yeah. And
so
they saw that in high school after the drug PSA, or
yeah. After we learned the truth, man, we were lied to.
Can you fill our audience in a little bit on kind of your background and what it is you do?
Well, I started. Well, I guess it depends on how far back we go. I mean, I've always been drawing and painting and doing goofy cartoons. Always a fan of animation. And I went to the Rhode Island School of Design to increase my knowledge or learn more about animation and illustration. And I ended up moving to New York. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
I ended up moving to New York, and as far as the sort of Wonder Shows and PFR connection, that's where I met John Lee, who created Wonder Shows and all the other stuff. And he was working as a receptionist, and I met him because I was doing an animated piece for a kid's show. It was like a National Geographic animal show, and
okay.
They had music, and there was like a little animated segment that I was doing. It was a song called like Creepy Creatures, and it was a kid who imagines large bugs running around in his house. Anyway, so John Lee was working there, and that's how I met him. And we pretty much started collaborating from there. He had another band called Mucka Ferguson, and he gave me a cassette that they had made, and I dug the music, and then I would go see them play because they would play all the time. And that's sort of the backstory. And then through him I met Vernon, because they were friends from college, or probably even before that. And they had started working on what was called Kid Show, which eventually became Wonder Shows. And so they had started working on that. So then I got involved with that, mainly designing graphics for animation and stuff like that.
So, and the animation from that show, I think, is so iconic. It's like wrung out through like memes and GIFs on the internet. It's been so like influential in like, I want to say like the comedy and humor of like our generation, I would say.
Yeah.
Just in terms of being like, if you want to put a label on it, like that alt or alternative comedy, where it's like not everyone's going to get it, but the people that are going to laugh their asses off.
Yeah. That was, I mean, I don't think I realized it at the time, but it was the type of thing where you either loved it or hated it, or loved it or didn't get it.
Right.
And
being in that group of getting it almost makes it that much more funny, or you can enjoy it that much more.
Yeah, because if you knew someone, it was kind of like that secret handshake, or
it's like we're both weird.
Club.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah,
you're a fucking weirdo too.
Yeah, dude.
Nice to meet you.
It's good camaraderie that way,
Yeah.
So how was the process working on Wonder Shows, and was it like just anything that came to your mind, or was there like a writer's room type of thing going on?
It was all, I mean, it all pretty much came from the mind of John and Vernon. They were they created it, and they were the main writers. They wrote all the scripts. The only thing I would do would be occasionally contribute sometimes ideas, but mainly my job was to take what they had written, and they would say we want it to look, and this was mainly concerned with the animated segments, because because that's what I was designing the characters for. So they would give me the script and say, we want this segment to look like a 1970s, PSA or
G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hobo ops.
So yeah, right. Hobo ops, Winobot, all that stuff.
Winobot,
So it's
yeah.
all-
Oh,
It
yeah.
just would span all these just different kind of genres, and I love that because it was just parroting, all that stuff that I grew up with. Yeah, so that's what I would do. I would make sketches and run it to those guys. They'd look at it and make suggestions, and that was it. But it was a lot of fun because it was all. I mean, the first season was all just in one kind of big office. Everyone was there, and yeah, it was just a lot of. It was a fun environment to work in, and John and Vernon were always great, and they always inspired, just craziness.
I could imagine it sort of like gives off that vibe just in with the nature of the show itself, and then also the network it was on, MTV2. That was at the time, fairly newer. I from what I am remembering, I know that
seemed like it. Yeah, I don't even think many people. I don't think anyone was watching it. I mean, I feel like
they moved all the Jackass stuff over to there, and and actually played music. I remember. For a bit as well.
That's what I thought. I thought it was wasn't it originally intended to be like the old MTV?
Right.
Like it was supposed to be how the original MTV was set up, where they just show music videos.
Oh hell yeah! I remember putting on Mad Late at Night, and they'd have like the heavy metal like hour, and they'd be playing fucking music videos back to back to back of like, and that's how you found out about bands too.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That was the days, man.
So it's cool because that sort of they were smart, I guess, in blocking a lot of these kind of out there shows with the people who would be watching at that time to discover new bands and stuff, I would say.
Yeah.
Because it's I would say a same group or a group that would appreciate stuff like Wonder Shows.
Common demographic.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember the thing I liked about MTV was like 120 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like that and like Liquid Television.
Mm-hmm.
That was all like before Adult Swim, and that it seems like that Adult Swim kind of took that Liquid Television kind of concept and ran with it.
Totally.
But yeah, at the time that Wonder Shows first came out, it did not get. I mean, I remember John and Vernon were both very upset because it wasn't getting any publicity. I mean, I think the publicity campaign was like John and Vernon had to like hire some kids to like hang, wheat paste some posters.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about it. But and at the same time, it was also good because I don't think, as far as like censorship and what we could do, I think it was pretty much they let us do whatever we wanted.
You were able to fly under the radar.
Scrutinized, we'll say.
Okay.
This is while it was on MTV. You were having to pay people to go put flyers out to publicize it.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So MTV didn't back you guys at all with like putting on like ads during the day or anything?
No, there was very, very little publicity.
I don't even remember how I stumbled across Wonder Shows, and I feel like it was just I was that demographic that was watching at those hours, and it was like, what the fuck is this? Because this is new. Like, like I just remember how much it stuck out.
They also put it on late, and because for some reason I think they were really concerned that kids were going to watch it. Yeah,
it was on the Jackass hours. Like Jackass would always start the cap of that hour. Like and they would go into like the different shows. Yeah,
and they had like I think Andy Milonakis had a show.
Oh, yeah, good show.
Yeah, he was great.
I remember when he was Angry Naked Pat back on his website. So yeah, it was all during that time, and I mean, you had mentioned Adult Swim, which we had, so we have to bring up Xavier Renegade Angel.
Yeah,
I mean that. I want to say your baby. It seems like
he was pretty much. Yeah, I feel like I helped give birth to that.
Well, and confirm this for me. The idea came from a painting that you did.
It does. Yeah, actually, I think I have the painting here.
Okay.
I think I have it. Or I used to have it.
American Slacker exclusive.
I'm wearing pants.
Because I am wearing pants.
Confirmed
pants, people.
Confirmed.
Anyway, This is the original.
Oh wow!
Oh shit! Hold on, let's
Damn.
pin.
This is the proto Xavier,
He's buff.
and yeah, I had painted this when I was in LA because everyone was moving to LA, and I thought I should move to LA, and I was pining
Wow.
for the East Coast, and I was like, I was thinking of like the kind of mythological or the American folklore and myth that was created.
Yeah.
Paul Bunyan and Johnny Appleseed. And I was like, I don't know, for some reason I was thinking of like a character like that I would create like a new kind of folklore. And for some reason I painted that. And then John and Vernon saw it and they're like, oh, that's a funny looking character. And we just started thinking of like a show that would revolve around this character. And yeah, it was almost immediately like, yeah, he's like a seeker, a wanderer. And then, you know, it was kind of the brilliance of John and Vernon. They were like, he tries to help people, but he always makes everything worse.
That does seem like his MO.
Whatever situation he enters trying to help, it always ends up making the situation far worse.
Like when he's trying to track down someone who kidnapped a bunch of babies, but he's the one who kidnapped a bunch of babies.
He's the kidnapper and yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, this show, I would say I was probably introduced to it by waking up and seeing it, like from like my sleep and not knowing what the hell I'm looking at.
It wasn't a coma situation.
No, just a deep slumber, you know.
Weed coma.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay.
Food coma. So after the weed coma. But yeah, it was on at that hour of Adult Swim where, I mean, I'd been watching Adult Swim since like the get out of the pool bump days and like the oblongs and shit like that. So
Right.
when this had come on, it seemed like Adult Swim was taking a newer, more, I want to say, experimental route and like opening up to the freedom of these shows that are different, like
Yeah.
Xavier. Was that the experience on your end, or was it like, how was it working with them on this?
No, at the time, you know, it was just, I think MTV decided they didn't want to do a third season of Wonder Shows.
Right.
And Adult Swim had approached us about doing a third season with them. And then for some reason they were like, no, we don't want to, they wanted to focus more on animation at that time. And so we had, you know, the pilot written for Xavier and we presented that and they immediately were like, yeah, great. And it was weird because they were just like, yeah, they didn't want us to do a pilot. They're just like, here, make the season. We're like,
wow.
Cool. So
Damn.
it happened really fast, but it was totally on the strength of Wonder Shows. But yeah, I mean, looking back, it seemed like they, like what you were saying, I think they were very much on the cutting edge of that trend of getting more into kind of the absurdist, kind of weird, say stoner, but kind of Tim and Eric kind of,
Right.
let's have some like weirder, more interesting stuff out there, which was great because I don't know, I'm all about that weird, interesting stuff.
It's
Well,
great.
yeah.
I mean, it's weird. Like when you say the word weird, it has certain connotations, but in this conversation, it's all good, baby. It's
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, I when I say weird, I always, it's always a positive weird.
And at the time, I mean, there was nothing like this shit on TV. I mean, when, you know, Adult Swim was coming out, MTV was dripping it a little bit at late night. But I mean, other than that, I mean, you'd have to get like maybe some local public access might have given somebody the chance to experiment and make some shit late night too. But like,
Or
other
early.
than that, mainstream,
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
going to be able to find that in Tennessee. Like fucking some Tennessee kid trying to find something that's different than fucking late night show or whatever bullshit jokes are sick of being fed. Like that stuff was a lifesaver, dude. Like
Oh, that's good.
thoroughly enjoyable,
Yeah.
man. You know, I was in upstate New York, so like we were constantly like SNL kids or even, you know, Mad TV is like sketch comedy, but like as far as like good like cartoons and shit, we were still talking about Kablam from Nickelodeon because that was the most weird shit we had. You know?
I mean, there definitely, it seemed like there definitely was a void, and you got to hand it to Adult Swim for kind of seeing that.
And people like you, man, shit, you have a piece in this. I mean, your shows literally helped them shape their network. Let's be real. I mean, without the pieces, I mean, yeah, there was a ton of other shows, but you were a crucial piece in that as well, with your show being like, I mean, I constantly saw spots for Xavier. I mean, that was always on, and I was always like, what the fuck is this?
It is so visually intriguing. Even if like you just catch a glimpse of it, you have to keep watching because it's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. The style of it I always thought was great, just because I don't know, at the time we made it was like 2007, but we're like, we want it to look like early 90s computer graphics,
like a GTA 3 cutscene kind of.
Yeah, exactly. that weird motion and the kind of very chunky polygons, and just the awkwardness of that just lends itself really well to.
What program did you guys use to make that?
I forget, because it was we used a company in San Francisco called Cinematico.
Okay.
And I don't think they had done a TV show before, but they had done I think they had done commercials and other things for, like, I think they had worked with Rockstar Games, so they were very familiar with that look.
So I'm on the money with the GTA.
Yeah, totally. And we had gone and gathered a bunch of like vintage, VHS tapes of reels of graphics from that time. So we had just shown them all this stuff, and they totally like picked up on it. But so it was the company in San Francisco, and I think I'm not sure if they're still in business. I have a feeling they went out of business after Xavier.
Oh no,
that's not a good sign.
Not a good sign.
Not your fault, though.
Maybe it is.
So I also saw your name in the credits of Delocated.
Dude, I had nothing to do with Delocated.
No,
I'm not sure how. I think it was a contractual mix-up.
Yeah,
but at the end of Xavier, I was out of PFR.
Okay.
So yeah, I had nothing to do with. Well, I did do a. I think there's a scene in Delocated where his assassin, or his bodyguard, is painting a picture of John Glazer and his assassin Eugene. I guess is shooting at him, and it's like he's out in some cafe. I painted that portrait, which I think ended up in there.
Okay.
And I think I did a couple other graphic things.
So you were involved, but yeah, it says you have like an executive producer credit.
Very minor involvement. Yeah, that is a bullshit credit. Yeah.
Well, at least you're an honest guy. We can say that.
I have nothing to lose or gain from that. But I do love John Glazer. That guy's funny.
He's hilarious, man. On like a personal level, what's he like?
Yeah, I only met him a few times, but he's very, what do you call it? He's very amenable.
Okay.
but he's very funny. He's kind of he's not like wacky, but one of those kind of almost soft spoken, but just very, very funny. Interesting.
So you mentioned PFR. And that was the band that you were in. Do you mind?
Yeah, we started as a band. Like I said, when I first met John Lee, he was doing music, and I give John Lee all the credit because he was really the only musician in the band. He knew how to play guitar and drums and actually engineer, mix music. But yeah, that's how we started, because it was John and his wife Allison and me. And we kind of started this band called PFR, which the initials meant nothing. I think Allison thought them up. And then Vernon joined as a guitar and vocalist, and he knew nothing about playing guitar or singing. But it was funny because it was kind of a joke, we were like a fake electronica band. And and we added the extra R, the extra F, the FR, because there was another band, a Christian rock band called PFR.
Oh.
And their PFR stood for Pray for Rain, which is so like Christian and biblical sounding, isn't it?
Right.
In a way, I don't know, pray for rain. I don't know. Why would you pray for rain? I guess if your crops are dry, or
if you're in a drought, maybe.
Cleansing, baby.
At an ostrich farm, yeah.
You're at Bonnaroo and everyone smells.
It's like a blood rain.
Yeah, dude. Wipe us of our sins, baby.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, PFFR was the band, but that's really what helped get Wonder Shows made. Because during that time, like I said, John and Vernon were working on the pilot of Wonder Shows, and they had put together like a 10-minute pilot, and it was called Kid Show at the time. And that's when we actually did the theme for Kid Show. I'm one of the singing in the theme. And so they had done that, and then I think, I don't know if they both had someone who was connected and hooked them up with the USA Network.
Okay.
To show the pilot that they had done. And they showed the pilot to the USA Network, and they liked it, and they're like, all right, we'll give you money to make a full show, full half-hour show. And they did that, and they brought it back, and I don't know if there was like some kind of regime change or the executives had changed at USA, and the new people looked at it, and apparently the quote was from one of the executives that they had killed comedy. They hated it.
Damn.
So they had so then we had this, I don't know, half-hour kid show pilot, and we would play shows. We'd play music shows, and sometimes we'd do like art shows, and we'd have our kind of wacky art, and we'd play music, and we'd show kid show as part of the exhibition. So it wasn't really going anywhere. We were just trying to like be out there and do crazy art stuff. But John and Allison brought it down to South by Southwest, and they showed it down there, and that's where someone from MTV saw it.
Oh, that's a huge venue to get recognized, from what I understand.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how they hooked that up, but
it seems like
someone was in the right place at the right time.
And that's, I mean, it's one of those festivals that is very popular, and now things seem to move from indie to, like, if they last long enough, they become mainstream almost.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, I don't know. I suppose it's changed a lot, but I mean, this was probably back in 2002 or 3 that they did it. Because I think, I don't know, I think at that event, John and Allison dressed up as the Twin Towers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was post 9/11, and they dressed up as the Twin Towers, and I think they crashed into each other as they.
How was the reception on that?
Damn.
Probably
in Texas.
Mixed, mostly not good.
A strong mix.
So
but apparently it impressed someone from MTV. So
yeah,
give him props.
He's like, those guys, they're doing something. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So what are you doing art-wise right now? Are you still painting or doing music?
I'll show you the most recent painting is that I've been doing these erotic ducks.
Oh, that's right.
Oh shit!
I saw some of these on your Instagram.
I've seen that. Yeah.
See that? This is a good one. It's hot. It's pretty hot.
That is pretty hot for ducks.
Yeah, ducks, but yes.
For the audio audience, we have two Daffy lookalikes. One inverted.
A
little bit of fellatio going on
being
there.
eaten out. I believe Cunnilingus.
All right, Jesse, you savage.
and then Bert
SM and foot fetishes out there. You're missing out.
And then Bert's tit.
Also honey wine.
You got to tell us a little bit about Bert's tit, because that's been a big driver on your Instagram as well.
Yeah, Bert's tit has really taken me far on the gram. I don't think I have any examples here, but to show. But yeah, Bert's tit just started as really just walking. I was walking around a lot around Chelsea, the galleries, and just in general, I'd see people putting up stickers, and those postal stickers. And I was like, wow, people are just putting stuff out there. And I was like, I could do that. And so yeah, I just started drawing like really dumb stickers, and I forget exactly how the Bert's tit started, but I think I was doing like I was doing Peanuts characters, Snoopy and Charlie Brown. I think I was doing those type of characters in kind of perverse situations.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for some reason I thought Bert would be funny if he had breasts.
It was flashing them.
It was, and defiantly is flashing one breast.
Just one.
Well, he's giving you the finger. Yeah.
It
evolve over time, but
the first time I saw it, it reminded me of there's a company that has I forget, they're like Rip and Dip or something like that. It's like a cat who's like flipping you off, and they'll put him like in the pocket sometimes.
Well, yeah, I think there's also like from the 60s, there was that like green hairy monster, like that naked hairy monster.
Yeah.
That I was always intrigued by as a kid.
Yep.
I'm looking for a Bert's tit. I thought I had. So it was also that kind of vibe, because I always loved like Rat Fink, the Big Daddy Roth character, and like that weird, I got very much into underground comics.
Yep.
So I was always really into that stuff. Again, it's like, I always kind of diverted from the mainstream, I guess. In my taste as far as like animation and stuff like that. Like when I was growing up, I loved Bugs Bunny, because at the time that was really that was kind of the subversive cartoon compared to like Disney.
Well, yeah, he's a rascal.
He is a rascal. Yeah, and he gets away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there's a Bert's tit.
There we go.
Oh,
you just whipped that up while we were talking?
I did.
dude, he's talented.
This is actually the smoke weed version, which seems to be popular these days.
I love that one, dude. That's
beautiful.
Can we buy these? Like, I want that in my studio.
Can I do a plug here?
Yeah.
Dude, yes, please.
Totally.
I got a Threadless account.
Okay.
Nice.
And my bio on my Instagram. So if you click that, we got this shirt. We got that's about it. There's Wonder Shows and stuff. There's Xavier stuff, T-shirts, mugs, whatnot.
Get yourself Bert's tit, guys.
Go
Ordering after this show.
I make about 30 cents on every shirt. So
oh man, they rip you off. Like
rolling in it.
God.
Order 100.
It's good if you're very lazy like me.
If you have a cult and you're looking to get a uniform going, I suggest 100 Bert's tit shirts.
Go with your black Nikes and.
There you go. I love it because it's a cultural reference that everyone like knows and gets, but at the same time that subversive fuck you while giving a cheeky grin at the same time. Like it so speaks to your style, which we have such a love for, I have to say.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's nice to hear you say that because there is that twist to it. I think that makes it interesting. Which is what I look for when for weird, interesting stuff.
Yeah, man.
As we all do.
Yeah. We were looking at some of your commercials too before.
Oh yeah, that's taking it back a bit. I think I've kind of retired from commercials.
So those were real early on in your career. You were in the commercial field.
Yeah. When I first moved to New York, actually, I started in animation. And one of the first jobs I had was working as a cell painter, which hint as to how old I am. Back in probably like early 90s, there was a animation studio called Broadcast Arts back before computer animation, when you would draw the animation, trace it onto a clear acetate cell, and then paint the back. So one of my first jobs was cell painting, and they did like commercials for Kraft macaroni and cheese and Cheerios and stuff like that. But the cool thing was they also did, that's where they made the first season of Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Oh, cool.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, I got there after Pee-wee's Playhouse had moved to the West Coast, but they still had like the little, at the beginning, the whole little landscape. They had the house and all those little props and stuff.
Oh, that's wicked.
I think sadly they kind of threw away when that shop closed down, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, man. You know, some nerds out there are like, I would put that Playhouse in my living room. Like,
no, totally, I would,
dude. All right, I would, dude. I'm not lying, dude. I'm a total nerd collector, so I collect everything. I would be like, fuck yeah, I got the original Playhouse before he moved to the West Coast. I'm talking the origin of Pee-wee.
Yeah, who wouldn't want that in their house,
Dude,
right?
So I forget. I think I got lost my track of thought, but animation. Wise. Oh, the commercials. Yeah. So I started at this place, and I also started doing music videos. me and my wife, we were directing partners at the time. So we started doing music videos, which involved animation. And from that, we kind of built a music video reel. And that didn't really lend itself to commercials, but we had done one music video where it was like a parody of commercials with the band. Like they were, doing like cereal commercial, car commercial, like just all these different styles. And for some reason, someone we had sent it to someone at Nick at Night.
Oh, shit.
And someone at Nick at Night saw it and they liked it. And they're like, oh, we're starting a new network called TV Land. You guys have some ideas for promos? And we're like, yeah, sure. Of course. So we did this whole campaign, this whole campaign for TV Land for this fake product called TWIP, which we, since TV Land kind of like was covering at the, I guess they still cover like shows from the 50s through present day, or 90s at least. Right. So we thought it was a campaign that would cover the kind of evolution of a product from the 50s through the 90s at the time. That's
cool idea.
It was a really cool idea, yeah, because it was the same product, but it would change according to like the trends of that particular part of the decade. So it starts as just like this energy drink, like a cereal, and then it becomes like a hair product, and it becomes like a fuel additive.
Oh, damn.
In the 80s, it becomes like a diet drink, and then we kind of it starts with a little mascot called Little Boy TWIP. So we have this kid jumping up and down on a trampoline in the 50s. And so we kind of come full circle. And at the end, we have Little Boy TWIP in the 90s. He's like an old guy. He's like, remember me? I used to be Little Boy TWIP. And we put him on the same trampoline. And it's kind of,
that's funny,
sad, but heartwarming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so that then after that was just like, we started getting commercials from that.
And before you know it, you're working with Alanis Morissette.
That was interesting.
I bet.
With Alanis Morissette and Janine Garofalo it was like a world turn your lights off.
Yeah. We were taking a look at that one. She's like biting her toenails.
Right. I forget what. She's in an airplane.
Mm-hmm. The hook was essentially she was doing something that turns you off.
Right. That was it.
Turn off day.
Yep.
A hazy memory for me. But I remember it was cool because we had that we shot out in LA and we had that fake airplane.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, you would have to be a fake airplane.
Cut out so the camera.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
No, so that was during the time that you were living out in LA?
I don't remember. I only lived there briefly. I moved up there. I got divorced, and then I was happy to come back to New York. It might have been. I think it was after.
Okay.
I'd moved to LA, and for some reason, John and Vernon had moved out there because they were working on that's the Snoop Dogg show. Snoop Dogg Televizzle.
Double Fizzle or something like that.
Yeah, we're working on that.
That's right. He did an intro for PFR, didn't he?
He plays the judge in court.
Yep. You've been charged with like being too fucking funky or something like that.
Yeah, like we have too much maximum flow or something.
Yep.
Like that.
Yep. How do you plead?
I'm not sure
guilty.
what he was doing, but it's very sweet of him to do that. Anyway, so I was out in LA briefly, but then I moved back because they had started doing Wonder shows here in New York.
Okay.
And I was happy to kind of move back and be part of that.
Is there still a decent amount of production like on the New York side? I mean, I hear that, LA is always like, oh, that's where you go to get involved in like the industry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But with shows like Wonder shows, and it seems like New York likes to take more risks, or they're more willing to hear out new ideas or go with new ideas possibly.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, I know that, LA will always be the center of production.
The hub,
It seems like everything always gravitates there, wherever it's conceived, it seems like it inevitably ends up there. I mean, I think there's always been a lot of production in New York. I would like to think that, there is a certain New York energy and spirit that inspires like kind of crazier stuff.
True. I mean, everything in the city is like, from what I remember, me and Matt, we would always go down there, you know, for concerts, comedy, all that kind of stuff.
Shit,
It
yeah.
seems to breed in cities.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned you mentioned you were into comedy before. What comedians do you like to listen to?
I don't. Well, I do like comedy. I mean, I was raised on like Monty Python
Cool.
and Benny Hill.
Yeah.
I was always a big fan of British comedy, like The Young Ones. I loved. That was another MTV thing. It was like I don't think I would have. I don't know if anyone else would have shown it. Maybe PBS, because like PBS would show Monty Python, but in the
Right.
80s to see like this kind of next level of kind of like taking the next Monty Python to the next level, seeing The Young Ones, like really cool, because those guys were closer to my generation, and yeah. But yeah, now I love Tim and Eric. I think everything they do is brilliant. You know, Dr. Steve Brule.
Oh yeah, God, yes. Nancy Riley.
Eric Andre is just hilarious.
Man.
I love that.
Love him.
It's just so crazy. Just like I can watch the intro over and over again.
Over and over, dude.
You know what's gonna happen, but there's always I don't know, it's something.
Oh my God.
Some slight change you gotta stick around to see.
Hilarious about it. Yeah. So good.
It's weird to see though, because like you had said before, like in the Xavier time, they were concentrating more on the animation side with Adult Swim stuff. Now it seems to be so much more like the narrative, or I guess in Eric Andre's case, like the fake talk show type of thing, where it's like a live action.
Yeah. It's just, I guess that's just the kind of natural cycle of.
Yeah, it's like an ebb and flow type of thing.
Yeah. Probably. Next generation will probably be different. More animations back again. Yeah,
I think people get tired of seeing stuff. It's like another Rick and Morty ripoff, and it's
God,
time for something new.
That Australian one, I just checked that out.
What was it? The Bush World?
Yeah, it's fucking. It's so ridiculous. It's to me,
to me that's almost funnier than the real. I mean, Rick and Morty is brilliant. I love that show. It's so well written.
What's this Bush World thing?
Dude, it's Rick and Morty, but they're Australian.
They're Australian.
And Rick is just an abusive, like, trashy piece of shit. And he's always beating and yelling at Morty. And he's like, shut the fuck up. I'm taking Morty. Like, is
it a parody?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's exactly Rick and Morty. Like,
it's like they're doing shit different down under, huh?
Dude.
Yeah. You got to see it.
You got to see it too. Like, it's amazing. Yeah. I just found that, and you can't help it.
Is that guy doing other stuff, or is that just like a one-off?
I don't know. I haven't really looked into him. I just found this literally like this last week, and I was like, "Holy fuck, dude, this is amazing!"
I'm glad you found it, because that was like one of the funniest things I've seen.
Yeah, I watched 3 episodes back to back real quick. I was like, "Oh my God!" Yeah, I thought it was gonna be shit for the first 2 minutes, and then it caught me, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is genius!"
The beginning is just like yelling in Australian accent.
Yeah, I was like, "What?"
In the corner, like, no, he's not gonna go. He's not gonna go.
It's like you're watching Cops, but Rick and Morty. Yeah. Like, it's a domestic incident going on, like, and it's just fucking horrible. Yeah,
very good.
I'll have to tune in after the show here.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
First thing you have to.
Well, no, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna buy some Jim Tozzi merch.
Okay.
Is there anywhere else you have any merch out there, Jim? Besides Threadless, do you have any other places you're slinging that stuff? Come on, you got to be.
Because I know, Threadless is mainly T-shirts. Are you doing prints or anything?
Yeah, well, they have prints and they have mugs.
Okay.
They have, what else they got? Bath mats, overpriced shower curtains, vet covers.
Toothbrush cases.
Yeah.
Well, they got phone cases. They should have toothbrush cases. That's a great idea.
He's gonna write them right now.
Paper cozies. Really capitalize on the pandemic.
There you go.
But no, that's it. Other than that, like any like art stuff I do, I'll post it on my Instagram and I'll just say this is for sale.
Nice.
DM me.
Oh shit! Sliding them DMs, get an original piece.
Yes. DMs. Hey, a heavy price.
Heavy price, people. Come with the cash.
But it's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's well worth it.
I mean, I hope it brings some joy to somebody.
I'm sure it does, man. We love all of your art. We're big fans. We're glad to have you on. And we'll have to do this again, man. We'll check up with you. If we're all still stuck in quarantine, we'll do another one of these. Who knows?
Please check up on me. Make sure I'm still alive.
We're going to make sure, man. We're going to make sure we get you through this.
We're going to be your accountability buddies.
You guys should give me your parents' emails just so.
Okay.
Check in. You can tell them what we're up to.
Yep. Yeah. He's going to have a word with our parents after this episode. People, you heard it here. Jim, thank you so much for coming on again, man. Big fans. It was great talking to you
guys.
Great to meet you, man. And hey, thank you everybody for tuning in at home. If you're watching on YouTube, you're listening on any audio platform. Hey, thank you. We love each and every one of you. And until next time, that's it.
There you go.
Nice.
We smoking America. We passing America. I'm mapping America. I'm second America. We talking America. We blazing America. This is fucking America. We second America.
This has been American Slacker Podcast. You can reach the show by searching American Slacker on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Reddit, or send them an email to americanslackerpodcast@gmail.com. You can download and rate American Slacker on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and all other podcast platforms. Visit the show's website, aspodcast.com, where you will find every episode, official merchandise, and links to their Patreon if you would like to support American Slacker.
We smoking America. We passing America. I'm mapping America.